Yeah, hey everybody, I'm back here with the west side of the SEC predicting it. So, I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes, but if I talk over it, my last one was 17 minutes. So, stay tuned in the whole time. It's going to be interesting, okay? We're going to start this thing off with Ole Miss, okay? They start off the season with a fairly easy team by the name of UT Martin. Yep, don't even need to talk about that. And then Fresno State, don't need to talk about that either. Unless Ole Miss just comes out and they suck and it's a close game. I think they're going to win it, though. Bama. Now, this is the one, just the big, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to beat Bama. I'll predict the score in one of my other videos. I'll make a whole thing just about the Ole Miss schedule. I'll make the whole SEC team, all the teams, a certain video just about them predicting their season, using the scores and telling them, maybe telling you what bowl game I think they might go to. But okay, they're going to beat Vandy, they're going to beat Florida, they're going to beat New Mexico, they're going to beat Memphis, they're going to beat Texas A&M, and then they're going to lose to Auburn. That ruins all their momentum. Okay, they're going to lose to Arkansas too right after that, and then they're going to go into the bye week. They're confused. They started off the season perfect, and then here come Auburn, smacked them right in the side of the face, and knocked them conscious. And Arkansas just come out and run them over. The bye week's gonna help them get back up, and they're gonna get up, and they're gonna push LSU around, and they're gonna push Ole Miss around, and they're gonna finish at 10-2, and they're gonna go to a good bowl game. They're gonna be 6-2 in the SEC. Okay, now we got Texas A&M over here, starting off the season against a real good Arizona State team. They're going to lose. And then they're going to have Ball State. They're going to beat them. They're going to have Nevada. They better be glad to have those two teams right there to catch up their momentum, because they started off the season terribly with a loss to Arizona. Okay, so they're sitting at 2-1 against Arkansas. They lose. Then Mississippi State, they lose. They're going into the bye week 2-3. They're not going. Know what's coming to hit them, because they're so confused, because they're not used to being the Texas A&M that they usually are. And then Bama's going to say, "Welcome to the SEC," all over again, smack them right across the top of the head. And Ole Miss is going to do the same thing. And then here comes South Carolina. Yep, South Carolina is going to lose to Texas A&M. Texas A&M is going to beat them. Here comes Auburn. They're going to lose to Auburn. And then you got West Carolina, Vandy, and LSU. They win all those, and they better be glad they did, because they got into a bowl game at 6-6, 3-5 in the SEC. Yeah, not a very good year for Texas A&M football. Okay, here comes Auburn. I don't know anything if they're supposed to be good next year, but I think they're going to be pretty good next year. About the same as they were this year. I don't know what the record was this year. I done forgot. But they're going to start the season off with a win against Louisville, Jacksonville State, LSU, Mississippi State, and then they're going to be like, "Oh!" And then they're going to bully St. Joe State. They're going to go into the open. They're going to be 5-0. Okay? They're going to beat Kentucky. And then here comes Arkansas. And then Arkansas just says they just push them around, and they lose. And then they get down in the dumps. And then Ole Miss beats them. Texas A&M comes along. And they're like, well, at least we might be able to get into a good ball game. So that's what they do. And they beat Texas A&M. They beat Georgia. They beat Idaho. And then they come up against Bama. And Bama smacks them up the side of the head and says, "No, we want that bowl game." And then they finish the season 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC. LSU, I'm planning for them to go down this year, because, I just think their era is over. This is not the year for you LSU fans. You don't even need to watch LSU football this year, because it's going to be that bad. They're going to beat McKenzie State. They're going to lose to Mississippi State. They're going to lose to Auburn. They're going to beat Syracuse, and then they're going to beat Eastern Michigan. And they're not going to have no momentum, because those teams, they should be beaten very easily. Except Syracuse might give them a battle, because they're not going to be too good. They're the next Kentucky. So, South Carolina comes along, they're an SEC team. They beat them, okay? That's when the momentum starts to kind of get rolling. And then Florida just comes along and takes that momentum from them. Western Kentucky, yeah, we beat Western Kentucky. You can't really get excited over that. Okay, say it right now. Go, yeah, we beat Western Kentucky. See, that's no big deal because Western Kentucky is not a good football team. Well, I wouldn't say that because they are a good football team. They're just not a match for LSU because LSU is going to be bad, but they're going to be that bad because, okay, so they're going into their bye week at 5-3. They're going to try to take that bowl game away from Auburn and Alabama because they're going to be right there with them. But no, Bama says, no, we want that bowl game. They take it, and Arkansas says, no, we're going for a national championship, and they lose. And then Ole Miss comes up, and they just knock them out. And LSU is not doing too good. They're just going to hope they can beat Texas A&M and get into a bowl game. But nope, Texas A&M says you're not getting into a bowl game and beats them, and LSU finishes at 5-7, 1-7 in the SEC. Okay, now here is the three good teams that I think are actually pretty good. Auburn was one of the top ones too. So was Ole Miss. But these were the teams that were good this year. Well, one of them was going to be good next year. One was good this year, and one was also average this year. So Arkansas, they're going to be real good. If you're an Arkansas fan, you need to watch every single play this year because it's history for you guys. They're going to beat UTEP, UTEP, and then they're going to beat Toledo, Texas Tech. They really don't have no momentum from that. They're 3-0. They're going to get momentum from 3-0. And then Tennessee comes up. Tennessee's going to be real good. And they're going to beat Tennessee. They're going to have a lot of momentum. They just beat Texas A&M and Tennessee, which Texas A&M, I think they might be good. They're in the, Texas A&M's 3-0 or 2-1 coming into that game. Well, Arkansas just slaps them in the head and says, "Get out of here." And then they beat Tennessee. They beat Bama. It's going to be a close game, but they're going to beat Bama. They're 6-0 going into the bye. They just beat Bama. They're going up against Auburn. They beat Auburn. They have tons of momentum. They're just going to get some rest days against UT Martin. And then here comes Ole Miss. They're rest up. They have tons of momentum. They slap Ole Miss in the side of the head. LSU's coming up. They're not going to be too good. They might underestimate them. It's going to be a close game, but Arkansas is going to win still. And then they're going to have tons of momentum. I mean, they're undefeated. They beat Alabama. They beat just about everybody. They slapped Mississippi State across the head, drop kicked Missouri, and boom, they're 12-0. And trust me, Missouri is going to be wanting to stop them real bad because they want to win so they can have a chance, but they don't. So Arkansas 12-0, 8-0 in the SEC. Bama starting off against Wisconsin. I mean, I would predict Wisconsin to beat Alabama, but it's the first game. Nick Saban's not going to let them lose the first game, so Nick Saban is just going to roll over Wisconsin. They're going to roll over Middle Tennessee. Here comes Ole Miss and says, "You ain't rolling over us," and then plows over Ole Miss. Oh wait, Ole Miss plows over them. Okay, so they're 2-1 going into ULM. They beat ULM. Not really exciting. Georgia might be average this time. I can't remember what I predicted for Georgia, but they're going to beat Georgia. Here comes Arkansas, okay? Yeah, you don't know what happens. They lose. Bama loses to Arkansas. And then Texas A&M, they beat them. They beat Tennessee, and here comes the bye week. They're 6-2. They're not happy because they've done lost as much games as they did last year, 2014, in the first playoffs. So they beat LSU. They're just at this point. They're just after this first game, they lose to Mississippi State. They just don't really care no more because they're Alabama. They're expected to be into the playoffs, and that's when they start losing all the recruits and stuff. And that's where just the Nick Saban era ends. It's this season. They beat Charleston Southern. Not really exciting. And then they're in the Iron Bowl. They really don't care. They're just going to beat them and get it over with. They're going to lose the ball game. They beat Auburn, finished the season 9-3. Not really happy. 5-3 in the SEC. Mississippi State, they beat Southern Miss, beat LSU, they beat Northwestern. They have tons of momentum because, they just beat Northwestern. No, they beat LSU. They still have some momentum from that. And then here comes Auburn. They're wanting to beat Auburn. They had plans on the championship right now. Okay. Then Auburn smacks up in the side of the head and says, "No, we want that championship." Here comes Texas A&M, Troy, Louisiana Tech, and Kentucky. They're wanting a piece of Mississippi State. Well, they don't get it. Mississippi State rolls over all of them. Going to the bye week, they're 7-1, facing Missouri. They prepare for Missouri perfectly. They beat Missouri. Here comes Bama. They just beat Missouri. They have a lot of momentum. They're 8-1. They still have plans on the championship. And they beat Alabama. Okay, they have tons of momentum. But Arkansas has more momentum, and Arkansas beats Mississippi State. And then Mississippi State really don't care because they had plans on going to the playoffs for the last 2 years, but they didn't get it, so they're down. They're down in the slumps against Ole Miss. They just get killed by Ole Miss. They're 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC. Yeah, okay. So there, the season's over with. Okay, here's how the West turns out. We have Arkansas at the top, Ole Miss, Auburn, Mississippi State, Bama, and Texas A&M, and then LSU. Like I said, this is not the way your program is usually looked. They, like Tennessee, just got Derek Dooley. They're like Tennessee with Derek Dooley. They suck, but they're eventually going to get a better head coach, and they're going to be right back up where LSU football deserves. So I have predicted the SEC championship to be Missouri and Arkansas. Arkansas, ton of momentum. Missouri, let me look at what Missouri just did. Okay, Missouri, they ended the season losing to Arkansas. But, Missouri wants some revenge. They're preparing for it. Arkansas, they're wanting it more than Missouri. But Missouri just beats them 34-31 in overtime. And therefore, Missouri finished the season 10-2. They're going to be 11-2 after this. There's going to be no SEC team in that playoff, guaranteed, because Missouri beat Arkansas 34-31 in overtime. There's just one overtime. Okay. Look, here's what happens. Missouri, Arkansas gets the ball first. Okay. Arkansas throws an interception. Missouri, they almost run it all the way back, but they tackle him. So Missouri gets the ball. Okay, they drive. They get a first down. They're wanting to run it in for a touchdown, but they don't get there. It's third down. They're going to kick the field goal on a third down from their own 16-yard line, or from Arkansas' 16-yard line. So that would be a 26-yard field goal. So that is what's going to happen. Remember that when Missouri and Arkansas are in the SEC championship, and Missouri wins 34-31 in one overtime. Yeah.